And to get us some perspective, now we are joined by Mr. Jonah Blank from Washington, D.C. He's a former foreign policy advisor to President Joe Biden, who advised Biden for 9 long years on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Mr. Blank, good to see you again on our show.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I watched the town hall in Pennsylvania, and please correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like the audience was different than what Harris usually sees. As CNN's presenter had claimed, they are undecided voters, and it seemed like they wanted to hear more about what Harris will do rather than what Donald Trump won't do. Do you think the vice president delivered on that front?
I think she did. I think that there really is no way that one can plausibly say Vice President Harris has not given a clear position on what she's going to do, particularly compared with the alternative. Anyone who wants more information can get it. It's right out there. She's put it all in a 72-page booklet. It's on her website. It's available from me and everybody else who appears in public venues. So I really don't think that there is a good faith argument that she's holding something back.
Speaking of the booklet, in fact, we heard Kamala Harris again and again reiterate that you should hop onto our website. But Mr. Blank, it's just 12 days to go for elections. Do you really think people are skipping through the booklets and going on websites? They're actually looking for their candidate online or on TV. Don't you think so?
Right. And yes, very much so. And she provides these answers. She's done all of these interviews, CNN, 60 Minutes, down all of the lists. And she presents detailed plans. People may like it, people may not like it. It's perfectly legitimate to say, I understand what you're doing and I'm going to vote against you. But it's really not, in my view, legitimate for people to say, I want to learn more about you, but I'm unwilling to listen.
All right, Mr. Blank, since you say that, how do you explain her slipping in the opinion polls?
Well, first off, all of the polls are within the margin of error. I think anyone claiming to know how this will turn out is either lying or guessing. This is going to be a coin flip election right up until the last minute. It really doesn't matter which candidate is up 2 points today, down 2 points tomorrow. The polls were off by 3, 4, 5% in 2016 and 2020. And I think we have to assume that they will be again. We don't know which direction they'll be off, but I think it's a fair bet they're not going to accurately reflect the final tab. So what we have to really figure is this is going to be essentially a tied election right up until the end.
Mr. Blank, you're absolutely right in pointing out that this is well in the margin of error. It's 47 to 45 as the numbers we have right now. But then you also have to agree that there is this silent voters who usually back Donald Trump. That was the case in 2016, and that was in fact the case in 2020 as well. Then what do you say to that?
Yes, I think that point is a very accurate one, and it really should scare Democrats because Donald Trump outperformed his polls both at the national level and at the state level in 2016 and 2020. Will he do so again? We don't know. We won't know until after Election Day, but you're absolutely right. He's got a 2-for-2 record of outperforming his polls.
All right, before I let you go, Mr. Blank, for someone who's watching these elections outside of America, in the last 24 hours, we heard Kamala Harris call her rival a fascist. We heard Donald Trump call his rival a low IQ person. Is this a character of U.S. elections, or would you say it's unique to this specific race of 2024?
Well, it's unique to the Donald Trump era because Donald Trump is a fascist. His own former chief of staff, retired 4-star Marine John Kelly, said so. His own chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, 4-star, then serving Army General, General Milley said so. So many other people have said so. So this is not sort of a word just tossed around by Kamala Harris. This is a title that Donald Trump has earned. As for Donald Trump's, frankly, racist and sexist condemnations of Kamala Harris, calling her low IQ, where is he getting this? Does anyone think that someone who has served as the Attorney General of California, Senator of California, Vice President of the United States, you may like Kamala Harris, you may dislike her, but what is the basis, apart from racism and sexism, for saying she's not smart?
As much as I agree with you, then one wonders how is not just half of Americans, but most of the Americans, not most, a little more than half of the Americans are actually vying for Donald Trump's second presidency. All right, we'll have to leave it with that. Thank you so much for joining us here on this broadcast, Mr. Blank, and getting us your insights as always.
Thank you for having me.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.